Hello, everyone.
I'm too tall for my frame. One sec.
To panel number 4, building the best bad evil guy, best big bad evil guy. So it's the BBBBEG. Yep. Hello, everyone. I'm your moderator today. I'm Robin. I use she, her pronouns, and you can find me usually here on Dork Tales because I play in so many games. All great games, but so many.
Not enough.
Not enough, Kelly says. But yes, I'm going to be your moderator today. Moderator. I can speak the words. And to start off everyone's intros, to get a little bit to know you, we're going to ask, what villain would you like to work for? Like, which villain would you choose to work for?
Who would you hench for?
Hench for. There we go.
Yeah.
Who would you
hench for?
And I guess I'll start off. I want to steal the one that we all talked about beforehand and go Megamind because he's fabulous.
Robin.
I'm sorry.
It's the benefit of running the panel, Charlie.
I get to get it first. So yeah, I'd work for Megamind because he's dope and fabulous, and it's all about the presentation because that's what makes a super villain, not just a regular villain. Yeah. So pass it off over to Kelly.
Hey everybody, I'm Kelly. I'm normally in that chair. I'm the host here at Dork Tales. You seeing him? And if I had to hench for someone, I'm really thinking about this one. I think I'm gonna curveball y'all. If you think you know what I'm gonna pick, I'm gonna pick Queen Beryl from Sailor Moon because you get an amazing outfit, you get cool coworkers, and to be fair, most of my friends are queer anyway, so that fits like it's perfect, right?
Perfect.
So that's it. I'm going for the outfits, and I'm going for, probably the travel package. They do travel a lot for work from the moon or from wherever they are.
Yeah, it's probably comped. It's probably,
It's probably comped. I mean, who else would I pick, really? What else do I watch?
I mean...
Oh, no. Big bad evil guy. I would work for Amazon, and then I'd be on Crit Roll. No.
Ooh.
He's on
Sorry, that's
D20
me.
right now, so
Yeah, he's on D20 right now.
Oh. Well, that's me. You can pass. I'll pass it over to Corbin then. Corbin.
Here we go.
Oh no. Okay, I am Corbin, also known as the Awkward GM Corbin over on YouTube. My pronouns are he, him, and as far as the big bad evil guy I would work with, let's go with Aperture Science. Let's go with Cave Johnson. Because I really want to throw around some lemon grenades.
When life's give you lemons.
Amazing.
Man.
I only have a few games in arm's reach of me right now, and that it was either that or BioShock, and I don't think I want to work for
Ayn Rand.
Ayn Rand.
I mean Andrew Ryan.
Andrew Ryan.
Awesome. Let's say hello to Michael.
Hi everyone, it's me, Michael. You usually find me over here at Dork Tales, and I do a bunch of graphic design, and when I'm not doing graphic design, I'm probably designing something on like a Death Star, like a massive death laser beam, and that's the kind of bad guy I'd have to work for. Somebody who has like galaxy spanning money and power and forces. So yeah, I'm probably working on the second Death Star though, because that first one didn't really pan out that well.
Fair.
You just want a boss that tells you to do it.
Get pretty cool set of armor though. Like, you don't have to worry about choosing what you wear to work every day because you just have to wear the same uniform.
That's, what, the Empire is fairly disability friendly now that I think about it, at least for veterans. Like, that's... I hadn't thought about it.
I mean, the up higher ups will never see you making funny faces at them because helmets.
Fair.
All right, then let's bring it over to our second bottom middle. I don't know. Charlie, welcome.
Hi. I'm Chicken Charlie. My pronouns are she, they. I answer to most things. I'm a variety streamer here on Twitch. You can find me at Chicken Charlie. And if I was to hench for, since someone took my original idea, Robin, I would probably hench for, oh my god, I had a name and then it left my brain. I've been reading too many books, so like all the big bad evil guys are like society. So,
Capitalism.
I'd work for capitalism as my big bad evil guy.
I
Too
already
late.
do work. No, but I think that my actual villain that I would choose is I would probably hench for Bellows in the Owl House series. Because like I'd probably be a witch, and that'd be the coolest thing ever. And
not
then
a
I would
witch?
just help kick Bellows' face in. So
Okay. All right.
Amazing.
So many heel turns in that show.
So many heel turns, yep. And last but certainly not least, we have Ashley from Fayfinders.
Hi, my name's Ashley. I'm from Fayfinders. I use she, her pronouns. Yeah, I also am a part of Off the Beaten Path as one of the cast members. This is my first time doing any of this fun streaming stuff, so normally my face is not seen. But villain I want to work for, so I mean, Tears of the Kingdom is coming out, and Ganondorf's coming back, and like his like like his actual little schmexy look, his little Gerudo man look, a Matthew Mercer voice, and I saw that and I was like, so I want to say Ganondorf. I'd probably die pretty quick, but I'm okay
Love
with
it.
that.
Just try and get the last dungeon. Be in the last dungeon.
Yeah, be in the last one.
Be in the water dungeon.
Yeah.
Awesome. So before we get into the panel, and please everyone watching, listening, put your questions in the chat so that we can get to them. But first, we're going to talk about our sponsor, because we have not new, but a sponsor for us, which is sending a huge thank you out to Bookworm Games. Please go to bookwormgames.com and use code DorkTales to save 10%. They make some amazing dice for a very reasonable to / even cheap price if you're coming from the lovely US of A, because if you spend $100 Canadian, which is like $70 US, you get free shipping. So they will send off free shipping. They have amazing gemstone D10s. They're releasing D10 resin sets soon for all of you World of Darkness and Chronicles of
I
Darkness
just rolled
players.
like 5 successes.
Nice. They
That's
also have
ridiculous.
lovely, gorgeous liquid core dice, which I am obsessed with.
Oh, Ashley's got one too.
Yes.
Oh, they're a really good company, folks. Go check them out. Like, seriously.
I'm very
Yeah.
jealous.
I feel left out. I'm gonna go buy some dice.
Go do it.
Use
Like,
code
they're
DorkTales.
my favorite thing about I have 2 favorite things about working with Bookworm Games. Number one, the owner Michael is a huge World of Darkness dork. And the first when we did our first Zoom call, behind him, like in his background, was this huge Nosferatu poster. And I'm like, all right, we're good. And number 2, their dice are really inexpensive. So like, go check them out for the quality that you get. They're just, it's the most affordable on the market. I don't want to say cheapest on the market because they're really good quality, but they're so affordable. Go check them out.
Yeah, they're awesome, and they also have this game in a box called Quest Chest, which is system agnostic, which works with any system, and it comes with maps, handouts, stories for any party. It can be 1 to 4 sessions worth of material, depending on how awesome your party is at puzzles or speed that they go at. They bring in things like tea, coffees, things to go with it, music and sound effects, and even like coins, props, and tons of other stuff. So visit questchest.info for info about that and their upcoming Kickstarter. So thank you,
Nice.
Bookworm Games. Yeah, you make awesome dice, and I love it, and I want more, so much more dice. It's not. Yeah.
So many more dice.
Yep. All right, so let's get this panel going. Big bad evil guys.
Nice.
Yeah, where do we want to start?
Do we have any questions from the chat already?
We have one from Coldrake, which is when making a BBEG, one that everyone hates. When making a BBEG, one that everyone hates hard, or one that folks love to hate in that weird dynamic. Ooh, what's that wording there, Cole? What is that question?
Is it like trying to choose between which one to do? Because I think that you don't really get that choice. I think your party's going to make that decision for you.
Yeah.
You can
Also, is the BBG always the hero in their own story, or is evil a relative term anyway?
Ooh.
That's some fate questions.
for the first one, the everyone hate having a villain that everyone hates versus ones that they love to hate is kind of that thing where, like, Game of Thrones, you have Joffrey and someone is like, oh, I really hate Joffrey, they should just get him out of the show, whereas someone's like, I just like being able to focus on him, I know he's a villain and I'm going to be like, and I love that he's the villain because he's so good to watch. And that's difficult to do.
Yeah, I think it takes a very good storyteller, writer to craft a villain that's going to make the players hate them and want to band together to defeat this villain without doing it in an offensive way, or like doing it in a way that's going to hurt the players. I think there's a very fine line when crafting a your villain to what are we laughing about?
No, not you, not
Don't
you.
worry about it. It's fine.
No, yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine.
Keep
Just,
going.
Mike did something that made me laugh. Sorry.
Okay, cool.
We did say it was going to be chaotic.
Yeah,
It's gonna be chaotic.
Wrangling you guys is gonna be fun.
Wait. This is the evil panel. It should have been.
Oh yeah, raising swords.
Raising swords. Hold on.
Oh, hold on. We got.
See, were
I
we
don't
prepared?
have a sword.
Please say everyone was prepared for this.
Where's my? I can go get
Wait.
my also axe.
Oh man, it's Iron Man. Watch out.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I
man.
actually do have a sword, but it's in a closet right now, and I don't want to get it.
I don't want to have to hold this thing the whole time. It weighs 20 pounds.
See, I have the foam version, so it weighs like.
Yeah, you have my phone. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I almost threw this just now because I thought it was the foam one.
Oh my.
No,
God.
you almost threw it because you thought it would return.
Yeah.
That's true.
See, I don't have to raise my hand, I think, because I'm the moderator, so I just gotta have this for like threatening
There we go.
levels.
Okay. I agree though. I will hop in, and I will agree that I think that there are two types of villains. There's ones that believe that they are the heroes, but there's also the batshit crazy ones. And I don't mean that as an ableist term. I mean the Joker, and I mean Joker adjacents. The ones who are, we'll just use batshit. I think, maybe not batshit, but you get the idea. The absolutely wicked ones who are just there to see the world burn. We're talking about the Jokers, the Kefkas, the third options. The Jinx. Oh yeah, the Jinx. The thing about Jinx though, and then you get into that, when you want to go into like insane villains, you have two options really. You have the ones with justifiable brokenness, and then you have whatever the Joker is. Because with Jinx, at least through the Arcane show, you get to see what led to that, and you're like, oh, yep, those are some traumas right there, Ashley. Suddenly.
I have currently. This is very heavy. I have currently a villain that I've been doing, and he's going to be popping up really soon. He's coming up in 2 weeks on the podcast. And for me, it's that he has a goal, does not care. how they get there whatsoever. And they will use what they can, and he's just gonna do whatever he wants. And it's like less of a it's so he's so fixated on this one thing, nothing else matters. And that is the motivation in itself, but it's also so self-harming, and it's very fun to watch the party go, "Can we fix him? I think we can do this." This is fun.
That's cute.
I think
think
that's
that
great.
the-
I think it's a. Oh, sorry, Kelly. Go.
No, it's okay.
No, go. Go.
No, you're the mod.
Go.
Do it.
Okay. I was gonna say it's. I think that's. In my opinion, I think the best villains, or big bad evil guys and gals and gems for thems, they thems. I was trying to keep the G. Big bad evil people is the fact
Works.
that you can have a sense, like a little bit of connectivity with them, something that it makes it hard to want to maybe kill them. You want, like, you see a little bit of shred of your PC in them, and I think that makes it a more dynamic relationship with your villain. I think that's where
Yeah.
you get the more like interesting stuff.
We're not
That's
so
Charlie?
different, you and I.
That type of phrase is really good when the players can do that to the villain.
Right?
Yeah. Charlie?
Yeah, I think what you're talking about with like making it hard to kill, not just on like a power level, but on like an emotional level is really interesting. And one of my favorite big bad evil dudes that does this is from Dungeons and Daddies with Willie Stampler. Because they're all their dads, so like there's all this emotional stuff. Like you can't just like kill them. Well, one, because they were overpowered, but two, because like it's like your dad. Like you have to deal with the emotional and like all of the working through all of those emotions to get to the point where they can be defeated, whether via being like trapped or being killed or being beaten in court.
That's true. Is that what that show's about? I have never actually listened to it.
Yeah, it's four dads are flung into the Forgotten Realms. You have to save their sons. And then like spoiler, but you find out in the first arc that the big bad evil dudes are the dads' dads that are like reincarnated.
Oh no, generational trauma.
Perfect. Let's actually.
I was talking about this a little bit before the panel about like adding something personal to it, and that really getting into your players and making your players really, really care about this. And it's kind of going with the justified actions, because I had a villain who was a part of everyone's lives since they were born. It was the mayor. It was like everyone's like, okay, like we know we can trust this person, and some things were happening, and you had people who were trying to remain neutral. Someone was like, no, I hate her. And you had people who were trying to justify her actions. So when it fully came out that she was a villain, they all just stood there like, oh, what do you do that? And they lost it. So I think adding like that bit of a personal element, as you were talking about, and you're trying to find that justified action for these players, and then it just coming so much worse. Like it's very personal, and your player takes it so much more personal.
Yeah, I think that was one of the good like questions or like statements that Soul had in the chat, is about what about when you learn that your ally was the BBG the whole time, where it's like that kind of sense of betrayal, right? Yeah.
So I actually had a situation with one of my players where it wasn't just that an ally was the betrayer. It was the ally was doing antagonistic things, doing the big bad evil guy stuff in service to the players. So at the end of the day, the players were trying to figure out, well, this villain was helping us get higher up in the political hierarchy of the city. It was like Vampire the Requiem game,
Mhm.
by trying to assassinate the prince of the city so that their child could take over as prince. Well, the child killed the assassin and got promoted. And so the sire was like, "Hey, I helped you get promoted, and it was because of me." and and sometimes just having it's not just about having an antagonist doing antagonistic things. It's like, what do you do when the antagonist, someone has the same goals as you but is doing it the wrong way?
Mhm. Yes. Yes, Kelly?
I'm just raising my sword to raise my. So I think that there are a lot of really cool ways, and I think that that's like ways to insidiously create relationships, because that's the goal of a big bad evil guy. You want to have a relationship. Nobody cares if you show up at the final dungeon and you fight the final guy, and it's like, who are you again? I'm the guy that did the thing. I'm bad, man. I'm real bad. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But like in one of the longest running games on Dork Tales, for example, the Shards of Nirn, we have this character, this big sexy humanoid red dragon guy, right here. I'm gonna put him on the screen. And like everybody is definitely, he's got BBEG energy. Like he's got big bad evil guy energy. But the characters meet him when they're on trial and are likely going to be, you got it, your Garly on there. I know, it's so good. But like he was in this situation where they were all being imprisoned by, or they were getting shit on by the Elven High Council, and he goes and just kills them and helps them achieve their goals, and is like, yeah, no, I'm doing me an elven war crime because elves are bad, right? And I keep having him show up in places where he is able to be an ally to them in their current situation. And it's that whole, like, we know you're evil. And he's like, we're fighting robots that are going to kill you. Let me help. Like, and it's building this relationship where they're like, oh man, he's going to go evil. And we're going to have to fight him. And this is going to suck because he's kind of fun. And I kind of hate that he's fun. Right. And it's great to have that because you can twist the knife. I love twisting the knife. It's the best. It's the best. I'm a good guy. Mike, you had something.
Yeah. I noticed become a bigger trend to have the big bad evil guy who has like world domination or galaxy spanning plans. But I'm finding it's either like a return to older, like especially in mob movies, where you just do somebody wrong one day and then they decide to get retribution on you. So you come home and hey, they set fire to your house or something, and you're like, why would you do that? And then suddenly you go over and start escalating it bigger. And then they have a bunch of guys show up at your neighborhood and they all have baseball bats, and it just keeps getting larger and larger. And I don't see a lot of that, especially in role-playing games. It's always, here's the big bad guy and he's always got a big bad thing. There's never a small guy who just gets elevated by the hero's actions.
Mm-hmm. Charlie.
I think though something that hasn't really been touched about is like the things or the big bad evil people that are like an ally to them from the start, because it's just a game. Like they're setting up their pawns. So like a good example of that, well, I ran one with like I made this mini series game in this like magical boarding school, and the like top A student kept telling them where to go and was like their information person, because they wanted them to get there so that they could play the game and be the end, being like, well, I tricked you. You did everything I told you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Doug
All
Judy.
right. Well, we've gotten a ton of questions, so I'm gonna
We
like
got way too many questions.
we got a lot about like building your big bad, like, which is I think it's really good because there's so many ways to make your antagonist really intrinsically awesome in your game. Like, if, for example, our series, our book finale for our Mage the Ascension game, Kelly had the like simmering in the background, like one of the bad guys romanced and flirted with my character, and it turned out that he was bad. And they did this. He did this amazing reveal, and suddenly realized it's like, oh crap, my character's in danger. I'm all alone on a date, and the rest of the mages are out doing something, and they find this letter saying that this person is sick and not going to be down here. So it's like, who the fuck are we dealing with right now? And
Basically, this was an imposter. Yeah.
It was such a good reveal, and it was just like, it was one of those moments where it's just like,
there's a great clip of
the
it
tension up.
Where you can see Robin's face just explode. Like,
yeah, when I realize,
pretty good.
Oh crap, I'm in danger. Oh, I'm in danger. So yeah, I think it's really great. So we can get to some of these questions. So let me just scroll back up here. I was going to get that, and then Kelly typed the question, and it scrolled back down to the bottom.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So Charlie actually asked this question to hear the thoughts from the panel on using queer antagonists for BBGs in games. The queer-coded bad guy has often been a nasty stereotype, but we still have complex and compelling antagonists. But we can still have complex and compelling antagonists of all identities, right? How should you do that? If you do want to have a queer bad guy that's not stereotypical or offensive, just
I guess it depends on what type of queer coding you want to do, first of all, because there's a big difference between, I don't know, I'm thinking Hannibal, right? Like from the TV show Hannibal as a queer coded villain versus, like, I guess Sailor Moon villains in at least in the US translation. I would personally, like, as a cis het dude, I would say probably don't do it in your games if you were me, unless you had players that were asking for that or wanted to have like a queer tension with, like if they were playing characters who wanted to have that type of queer relationship or queer tension between the antagonists and the protagonists. Yeah, totally. But like, don't necessarily just throw that in. That's my suggestion, because that's dangerous. And it is not a good brush to paint people with.
Charlie.
As a queer person, I think that something I learned in comedy school that I think is really relevant in like everyday life is like anything can be funny, but are you the person to be telling it? So like anything's hilarious, but like it's not funny to listen to you make fun of, like, I don't know, something that has nothing to do with like your life stories. But like if you are queer or like you have queer players or like, are doing it respectfully, like don't make your villain wear feather boas and like stock high heels just because they do it. Make it like something that's a little more deep and a little more like queer coded versus like stereotypical.
Or even like Megamind, I would say. Like,
do you think Megamind is queer coded?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I was about to ask, like, what is your definition of queer coded? Like Frankenfurter, right? Obviously, like, I mean, that's the definition, right? But like, what is? Where's the limit? Like, where are the scale here? Do we have a scale?
I mean, there's definitely Disney villain queer coding.
Okay, like Scar, right? Scar's got big queen energy. Roar.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Jafar.
over you, Charlie, on that.
Yeah. See, for my, I feel like when I think of like queer coded characters, I think of characters that are queer, like, and like you brought up Disney, and they're doing this a lot lately, where like they need to be queer or they want them to be queer, but they're not allowed to say that they are. So, and I think that's kind of, and they do really, I think modernly do it really well now, where they have these queer characters, whether they're villains or not, and everyone in the room knows they're gay, but they just never say it. And I think that's kind of for me where the line is, for like what queer coding versus like stereotypical, like modern Disney.
No, I'm sorry. Go.
I think for me, the way I like to kind of, what's the word? Like add in more diversity with queer characters as a queer person is what I'm saying going to be harmful to me if I put this out? Like, would I enjoy listening to this? Would I feel offended if I heard this? Like, how do I feel about saying this? Because my all-time favorite villain that I love playing is the most flamboyant little bastard, and I love him.
Which one?
Hmm?
Which one?
His name's Devotion, and he talks like this, and he's all very up in everyone's business. And I've never said it on the podcast. Not that I've ever needed to, but he's 100% asexual. Like that boy, like in my mind, he's like, oh, I can flaunt this, but it's never gonna happen. Like it's like I'm using this because I know this is my advantage, but we're never going to make it. Like I'm okay doing that, and it feels okay doing that, and in fact I feel like ooh when I'm playing him. But it's like it's just understanding, like, as long as I'm feeling comfortable and I'm not trying to push it and I'm not pushing any like line that I feel like is there and making sure I'm holding back, I feel like that's good. Because I feel like we all kind of have like is this okay? And if you're questioning if this is okay, maybe it's not okay.
Probably not. Yeah, it's
The
probably
chat
not
right
if you're
now.
questioning it.
The chat right now is saying that the basically queer coding and British coding or English coding are basically the same thing. And I'm like, that's pretty accurate. It's real close. Like there's not much difference between oh behave and oh behave, right? It's the same. Is there a Disney character, like a Disney villain that isn't queer coded?
All I can think of is the steering wheel from Wall-E.
What about the guy from Pocahontas? Like
No,
You were okay with all the purple?
Oh no, never mind. I pulled it back.
It's a gay
He was
man.
British.
I was just
He was British, obviously.
He's British.
Because like Gaston is trying so hard to not, and he's played by who's he played by in the live action? Come on, Luke Wilson. Like, come on.
Hugh
Do you know what
Jackman
they're
on
implying?
Broadway.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair. But like, it's like, God, is there a Disney villain that isn't queer coded?
Maybe the evil stepmother from Cinderella.
Yeah.
Oh
Maybe.
yeah.
I think
That's
that'd be
going back a ways.
Yeah, I was like,
Ooh.
yeah.
There's definitely a lot of
Yeah,
like looking into those. Like it's like people have analyzed it so much that they've gone so down into it's not queer coded, then it goes from that end of the spectrum all the way back around. Like I would say the mother, the queen from Snow White, didn't seem queer coded when I was a kid, but I've definitely seen people talk about how she's very much queer coded.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. People in the chat are saying that Clayton from Tarzan isn't, and I'm like, he's pretty British. And the
All Chino's gonna come beat our butt soon if we keep saying that.
you know what? That's you're not making the case any better by saying he's gonna come beat our bottoms. And then the other is from Princess and the Frog, and I'm sorry, Facilier is very. I mean, just the yes, you know.
Oh my god.
That whole song is a production.
The best part of the entire movie. The best part of the entire movie.
Straight up.
I still need to see that.
Oh my gosh, I was just scrolling up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ashley dropped a great joke in the chat.
Oh, Kelly, why you gotta get in the way of Robin's moderating?
I know, right? Paul, you coming over to the island? You gonna come? You gonna come?
Oh,
you gonna come for me? Come to me.
Their Star Wars is technically Disney now,
Disney.
It is, and the Emperor is definitely queer coded. He's sitting there. Do it.
Do it.
It's just
Jabba? Absolutely.
Can I learn this power? Can you learn this power? Not from a Jedi.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
one stiff Sith.
Stop.
It's past 10. I'm allowed to make these jokes.
Yeah. All right. Next question from also Charlie again. What do you each think is a great quality that a BBEG should have that you think is overlooked?
I'll talk. I feel like when people create villains, we forget that there's like, okay, and I know that there's like fantasy races, whatever, but I'm using this in a general term of like, we forget they're human. We forget that they're doing this for some reason, whether it's, we were talking a bit about earlier about, is there a motivation? Is there not a motivation? Like, is it mental illness? Is there like trauma? But there's still like they're doing this for some kind of benefit. And let's talk about why. Like, why are they doing this? Because from their point of view, there's a reason that they want this. And, it could be like, I want my family back. I want, I want to be free. Like there's all these different things. So let's talk about like why. What is they're not just a face. They're a person. They're an NPC.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're probably as a GM storyteller, they're probably a big DMPC for you. Like, you're creating this antagonist for your players to experience. You're going to be either working them behind the scenes, figuring out what they're doing, and then every once in a while, doing the like wave in and out of the story where they, meet them and clash with them to hopefully build up that, that plot. So as a storyteller and GM, DM, you're gonna get to know this PC probably very intimately, like, of how you think, how they think. So giving them this humanity that we have is probably gonna make it easier for you to like bring them back to and remember what their motivations are. Yeah, Corbin?
One thing that is something that people tend to forget, like you have these emotional connections with the big bad evil villain. So a good example I could come from like video games is Batman Arkham Asylum. The Joker is the villain of that game, and at the end when they do the boss fight, spoiler alert for a game from however long ago, he turns into a giant monster that you have to fight. And then and that's kind of not what you need for a villain. That seems like, okay, we needed to have a fight, so we made up a reason for there to be a fight at the end. But for something like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, end of the game, you confront the villain. He's been being the puppet master the entire time. He's not a combat guy. You don't need to create a huge stat block for your villains. You don't need to have them be able to fight. You just need to have them be a threat in even a social, political, maybe even religious way if you want. Don't forget that.
I think it's on Michael first, then Charlie.
Probably one of my favorite dealing with a bad guys scene was Breaking Bad, where you had two bad guys confronting one another, and obviously one of the two bad guys was wheelchair bound, and yet he had the means to take care of the other bad guy. And I love that concept of who's more evil in that situation. Two bad guys head to head, and like you walk away from it going, wow, they're both just evil. They deserve one another.
Charlie.
Yeah, this is bouncing off Corbin, but I think that one thing that gets missed a lot, especially in TTRPGs, is just the big bads always feel super isolated. If it's not well thought out, like most big bad or evil person or whatever has some sort of outside influence, like Corbin was saying, with either like politics or like being in the church or whatever. And that's something like a great example, which I've talked to Kelly about, is Strahd in Curse of Strahd. He runs the county, like he's the lord of the land.
It's like literally called a county.
Like no one like he has like resources, so you can't just storm the castle. You know, like there's downfalls to actions even though they don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Ashley.
true.
Also to bounce back off of Corbin, because you brought up a really good thing with Arkham Asylum there. Kind of playing back into the video game theme, Undertale, you have the option to not fight. And you can go through the entire story without picking a single fight. And I think that's just such an interesting element. And it's just I love it. I love being able to sit down and talk to a villain and see like, hey, what's up, bud? Do we want to do a therapy session? Do you want to like have a little chat? Do you need a little nap? Like let's talk. And I love that. I love that aspect.
I think what campaign, Kelly, where we
Which
there was a thing where we literally just talked down the bad guy.
you talking about Hexeter? Was it Hexeter
Yeah.
or was it?
I think so.
In Hexeter, the villain won.
Yeah.
You guys ended up working for her without even knowing it. Like it was
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
Games where you just talk the villain down. It happens.
Yeah.
It absolutely does. Like it's always interesting when you have the supervillain that has the plan that's like when it's finally outlined, the characters go, "Oh, he's making a lot of sense. Maybe we should bring down capitalism or something," right?
Yeah. Right. You had a thing to add, Kelly?
I did. I was actually gonna tack on to what Charlie and Corbin were saying a bit about things that you need to remember. Like if they're untouchable and they have things that they have connections to, like the church, don't forget that they also have friends and family, and the big bad evil guy probably has somebody they eat lunch with at the cafeteria. Not everybody's Darth Vader, guys. Like a lot of times, like you look at historical figures that were big bad evil guys, which we can't really talk about on streams anymore because they'll demonetize you for saying that guy's name. But he had a wife and a dog and a pretty okay social circle for him. Really monstrous people, but there's so many tropes of like, you know, oh, my lieutenant failed me, I'll kill them. But a lieutenant's your little brother, man. Like, you're gonna keep giving him chances, and when he finally gets killed by the heroes, you're gonna be real upset. And you know, it's a great way to play tug of war with hearts.
I think. Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, I think this is like we can continue this conversation by tying in a question from Iron Warrior X, which is how do you sell your villains in such a way that they don't seem too OP and too insurmountable? I've found it very easy to oversell the BBEG or chapter boss, and in doing so, scare off the PCs from even trying. So I think this is a good kind of another like discussion that we can bring in when talking about like friends and family of your villain, because it does make them seem a little bit more approachable. But yeah, Corbin?
Oh, so I was just going to tack onto Kelly's thing of you don't want to have a villain kill off all their lieutenants for failing unless you're going for a really Machiavellian villain, because like otherwise, why are the henchmen working for them and stuff like that? Because they would probably escape and run off and all that. But going back to what you were saying with that question of making sure that the big bad evil guy isn't too insurmountable, there's a story that my friends used to spread around of they're like level 3 or something adventurers in D&D, and they are told there's a dragon outside town that they need to take care of, and the players ran away. They were like, we're level 3, we can't handle a dragon, and it was a young dragon. They could have easily taken it, but they decided to go off and do their own thing. And try and get better to take on that dragon. And then instead of having this young dragon go up against them later on when they were like level 20 or something, they threw an ancient dragon in there. So you can always try and like if if a villain seems too insurmountable, late game content or further down the pipe, and bring in a lesser villain, maybe a lieutenant of the big bad evil guy, as someone who's a bit more surmountable, so that they can go a step up and keep going until they can reach that big bad evil guy.
Mm-hmm. And
just
Charlie.
just one thing.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying, just one.
Yeah, one
aspect.
tip. Yeah.
Tip.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I was like, yes. I think one way to make players, and this kind of ties into everything, is also putting in NPCs that are like just neutral NPCs. They're not good, they're not bad. They will act to the party however the party acts to them. Because sometimes you have parties that are super suspicious of everything, like the check doors with 3-foot poles. And so when you put an NPC or like a quest person before them, and they're instantly sus, that person is instantly gonna start acting kind of like sus to them too, because that's what you would do if you like were like, hey, I need help with like my cows, and they're like, are they real cows? You're like, yes.
Mimic cows.
Mimic cows. Yeah.
Mimic
no, they're actually
cows.
all
how to
mimics.
make your party so untrustworthy of everything mimics.
Mimic hats, mimic chairs.
Mimic elevator, Kelly.
Mimic village.
I did a mimic
full of
elevator
mimic
for
people.
GaryCon. That was great. The mimic Vader was wonderful. God, the mimic elevator was good.
Ashley.
Just to build off Charlie there, yeah, those NPCs, they really help the player like get into it. Cause I've had a party been suspicious of me the whole time. This is the first time I've not like been super mysterious in a game, and I've been very blunt, and they're like, I don't know, man. So it's like sometimes you have to let your players just walk away from it. There's not a whole lot you can like bring it into later game, like Corbin was saying, but sometimes if they're gonna be super suspicious, you gotta just let them like go. Like, I know it's more prep for you, but sometimes you just gotta let them like, well, they're stuck in their ways. We're going to try something else. And in one of the games I play in, we had like our captain, horrible person. And it was like every time we went into an encounter, it was like, you know what? He would have peed his pants. We're going to go do this. This is for us. We're going to go do this. And it's just like, our DM gave us that because this man was like swearing at us and calling us dumb. We're like, no, we're not. So like egg them on, see what happens. If it's not, going the way you wanted it to in trying to introduce your villain, bring in someone a little annoying just to like hype them up a bit.
All right. Before we go on to the next question, let's do a donation check-in because we're almost done with the our first day / it's evening of Dork X, the real
little baby day.
Fun little
Already
baby
the
day.
next day over here.
It's true.
Ooh, it is happy tomorrow.
It's a little bit
that's right.
better than yesterday.
Is it? Ooh, well, everything's better. Never mind. Well, we're on Disney. So folks, hey, just letting you know that Dork Tales Expo is a fundraiser for Dork Tales for our operation budget. So if you like what we do here and you'd like to see us keep going, this is a fund that helps us afford things like advertising, art, tech, costuming, role-playing books, subscriptions, streaming music, getting a theme song, funding for editing, funding for live appearances, and, food and electricity. If you like those type of things and you like us having those kind of things, you can give us some of your couch cushion money a couple of ways. The first is to go down there and click the tip button or go to streamelements.com/dorktales/tip and donate there. You can also donate to our Ko-fi or you can join our Patreon. For incentives, we're trying to raise $5,000. Who knows? We might hit it. We might not. But we're going to offer some incentives. For every $500 that we do, I'll do another one of those ASMR videos you guys seem to like. At $2,000, I'll run a one-man, one-ring Strider edition game where we do the Aragorn game from One Ring. from Free League, it would be fantastic. At other things, at 5,000, people want an OnlyFans from us, so we'll do an audio OnlyFans, and we'll run some mature games, I guess. It'll be weird, but hey, you'll get access to it. At $6,000, if we surpass our goal, we'll run another Dork Tales Expo in the fall winter, so you'll get 2 per year. And at $7,500, if we go 150% of our goal, folks, I'll run a stream from a hot tub. I'll run tabletop games from a hot tub with a floating dice tray. It'll be good. It'll be good. We got even other ones. And on Patreon, folks, we're at 148 patrons right now. At 150, Bunny Hearted is going to run a once-a-month Star Trek Adventures game. At 180, I've been trying to run less games, but you know what? At 180 patrons, I'll 180 that, and I will run a system voted on by the patrons. That could be anything from, I don't know, more World of the Darkness stuff to Waterdeep Dragon Heist. I don't know. It could be Aberrant, or it could be something. I don't know what else is popular. What else is good? 200 patrons. I'll run an Avatar: The Last Airbender game, which of course will be fully costumed. And I was gonna say I'd wear like an Appa headdress, but now I'm thinking about that guy from January 6th, and I'm gonna take that back. Because that's basically what he was wearing, I realize now. But yeah, so go donate today, and thank you so much. Back to Robin.
Sweet. Thank you, Kelly. Let's keep going, because I've realized that the panel is 75 minutes and there are so many questions. So we will do this semi-rapid fire. So scrolling up from Frog Hemoth Legs. Kelly just did the thing again.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. From Froggy, we have people keep doing it. Keep
Sorry.
That's okay. I just try to find it. How do you make a handsome Jack Borderlands BBEG without making him too cheesy? Any advice for that, Charlie?
Just make sure that they're a real person underneath. That people can be cheesy, and I think people don't let people be cheesy, so there can be a little cheese, because that's just inevitable. I'm cheesy all the time, and as a human being, but I also have moments where I'm like, no, like this is actually really serious and trying to have a real conversation. So I think if you just mix in those two, that you'll still have the very flamboyant, or very like the very like presentation, hot macho man, macho woman, macho person. But it's still fun and cheesy, but you can layer it in a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mike.
I think go full on cheese, like 4 cheese pizza. Get the grater out, like lay the cheese on so thick people need to like go and have a nap afterwards. Just like, oh, so much cheese, because it reaches a point where a little cheesy, it's like, okay. Then you hit the midpoint where it's like, okay, I don't like it. But then you just shower everybody with cheese, get the bag of shredded cheese out and throw it around.
You just basically saying that's the layers of like the Vince McMahon meme of like,
yeah, essentially. You just reach a point where it's like, oh my god, it's so over the top. I can't believe it anymore.
It's
reach that point.
There's a character from Fairy Tail, the anime, that's just like that. From, I don't know, one of the other guilds, but I was just like, it's just the cheesiest dude, and you're just like, it's fine. I'm on board.
Cool.
I think there's definitely a cheesiness that like you can't, it's not just cheesy, it's snark plus threat. So as long as your villain is still a viable threat, it's not going to feel like a joke villain that you just decided to throw in who's going to get like slapped in the second they start fighting.
Yeah. Cool. Next question we have from you, Corbin. How to make a villain that doesn't want to kill the PCs, and the PCs don't want to kill them. So how do you kind of like start seeding the villain, basically, like introduce them and not make the party want to like murder them instantly?
Well, so there's definitely this thing of especially in American film and movie media and stuff, where we like to see our villains dead, like Hans Gruber, all these other villains. Like, you sort of like, if you kill them, they're no longer a threat. It's when that villain, even if you did kill them, the threat is still ongoing. Like, you're kind of in a situation where violence isn't the answer. And I like that question because it's such a hard one to answer, I feel.
Yeah. What are people's thoughts on that? Ashley?
I think maybe, I think to kind of build off that, maybe you can have a villain who like is afraid of fighting. Like their goal is not at all to do this. And they're a coward. Like, maybe they know, like, maybe they have the charisma to get where they want to be. They do not have the strength to get there. And so maybe your party sees that vulnerability, but also still sees the ambition. So it's that mix of like, okay, well they can't do this, but they want this, and it can become a threat. So how do we balance that?
Cool. Scrolling back up.
Scrolling my way up there.
A question from Amberthus. How do you prevent your villains from being seen as hot? I think that's impossible, but Kelly, right up there.
Don't avoid it. Lean into it. You know, it's just why would you not? Like, what's wrong with them being perceived as hot? Like, you know, like, what do you want out of it? Like, why avoid it?
If you don't have black rubber pants, what are you doing with your life?
I like how you had that within reach, Mike.
You don't want me to show you what I got within reach. Let's see this helmet with horns on it.
All right.
More sense.
I could definitely.
We don't want to.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say I could definitely see though having a GM who doesn't want to have their villain end up being like seduced to the good side and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, that's why you seduce them to the dark side.
Or are we playing a villains game now?
That's actually a question that we have. We can skip.
Was it? What is it?
From blog.
That one.
There was a specific one they asked about that. Do you have any tips on running games where the players are baddies, knowingly or surprise plot twist at the end?
Yes, I absolutely do. Okay. I'm gonna jump on that first. That's my grenade.
Do it.
A lot of people will go into something and they'll say, "Oh, I'm evil. That means I'm a psychopathic jerk." No, that's not what evil means, guys. But a lot of players will jump to that. So if you're running a game for that, have an established structure. Say like, all right, you work for an evil organization, right? And yeah, you might screw each other over eventually, but try to force them to have connections with each other, first of all, so that, maybe they were evil roommates, you know? Maybe they're a bunch of Slytherin or whatever who went to college together and they're cool like that. But you want to give them some type of structure, give them an evil hierarchy, put them at work in the upper echelons of Amazon.
You have to have a frenemy, not have to, but you can have a frenemy, sort of like Dr. Doofenshmirtz and Perry the Platypus from Phineas and Ferb. They'll fight each other day and night, but they can still get drinks and have fun afterwards.
Yeah. Charlie, I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah, I think exactly what Kelly was saying about like they can be, but if you're trying to do it in a secret way, like where the players don't know what they're doing, you need to set it up in a way that they have the choice of doing the right thing, but making the right thing maybe harder than it is to do the evil thing. Because then eventually when someone goes, okay, but you're evil because you guys did this, they can't be like, no, we're the good guys.
We're totally the good guys. We just that village was blocking traffic.
I think that's a great way where, like, if you're trying to give them the choice And yeah, if you want to have that slight twist at the end, yeah, give them. They had the option to be good, but they took the easier way. And yes, they burned down the village. So yeah, I think that's very good advice, because yes. Also, I truly believe if you're gonna have an all evil party, don't go chaotic evil, lawful evil, because lawful evil goes by rules. You have your code of like morals as a lawful evil person, you'll follow that. Chaotic evil is just gonna just derail the party and not have a fun game. I think if you play more lawful evil or even maybe neutral evil, it's gonna be
Then that's
like you'll work with people because you just want to get your goals achieved. And yeah, your goals may be world domination, but up until that point, at the end, yeah, you'll have people help you because it's a lot easier with more people to help you.
And having
many hands make light evil work.
having a good guy as the bad evil guy gives you a lot more to work with, a little bit, in that they won't necessarily want to kill the party. Maybe they want the party to go through that redemption arc. Maybe they want to save them. It's like what Kelly said earlier. There's not we're very similar, you and I. We can work together, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, very nice. And there are a lot of games where, like, even if you're playing any type of protagonist, like if you're playing a vampire game, you're evil.
Yeah.
Sorry, you literally steal life to exist. Sorry, like you're kind of a jerk. You're a metaphor for many types of abuse. So enjoy that. Same with being a werewolf. You're a metaphor for a drunken rampage. Doesn't matter if you're like a scout leader and pick up trash on the highway on weekends. You still eat people. You know, like.
I think as like players as well as DMs, of just being aware of those like coded messages within certain like monsters or races or like TTRPG races to a degree. Like you can be like a gentle, like if you're gonna play like a vampire, like how do you live? Like are you doing some Edward Cullen stuff? Like I don't like, are
like
you
dating high school girls?
sneaking into their rooms at night? Because that's
Yeah, that's not
jail,
creepy.
straight to jail.
Straight to vampire jail, which is just a box in the basement.
Oh,
Is that not a coffin?
Yeah, that's
Right?
it literally is.
Also, sorry, I'm just gonna real quick pop out of thing because Master on the chat has said Renfield's going to be good. Yeah, Renfield's great. Go watch it. It's an amazing movie. Anyways, back to the
Yeah, it's not quite as good as American Werewolf in London. That's a bit of a stretch because that movie is a classic. But Renfield, let me just say, Robin and I saw it the other night, and Nicholas Hoult is fantastic. But if you had any fucking doubt in your mind that Nicolas Cage would not perform as Dracula, oh my God, get out of here. Okay, it is the best World of Darkness movie that's come out in 10 years. It is like honestly, if you're a World of Darkness fan, we're gonna talk about this tomorrow at the World of Darkness panel. But like Renfield and Underworld are the same movie from different points of view. Like it's you put them in the same World of Darkness playlist, guys. Go see it. That's a big bad evil guy. Also, the set dressing. That's something the big bad evil guys need. The set dressing.
a nice lair.
You need a lair. Where else are you going to kick up your evil heels?
Get a nice description going for your villain where, like, you say you see a man with long black hair and an eye patch, and immediately they're like, it's him, get him, and stuff like that.
The best big bad evil guy that I ever had in a game, okay, was an accountant. He was literally based off of Cyril from Archer. He was the accountant, and he was actually the mastermind of the entire evil plot in this long-running mage LARP that I was running. He was the most evil character because he kept being incompetent, but he was that whiny incompetent guy who kept being like, yeah, I just, this guy who's above us, who's like really powerful, I think there's problems, I think he needs to be replaced, and he kept just seeding doubt by being a pathetic wimp. And then meanwhile, he was just making the characters do all of his dirty work for him. while doing evil, and he was, you know, this fantastic little Nafandi, if you know, you know. And it was so good. And it's like, you're, and there was that whole thing where it's like, yeah, he's not gonna fight. Like he is an accountant. He's just an evil accountant, you know. And it's, you gotta love that.
Polylog says, can confirm as an accountant we are all evil. So he's just an accountant.
He's just an accountant. It's so
Yeah.
good.
One of my big bad evil dudes, and this was specifically for my Jimmy Buffett one shot, so like it's already kind of crazy. I wrote a Jimmy Buffett one shot, me and my friend, and we ran it, and the big bad evil dude is a Chili's part-time assistant manager.
Oh my
That is just an assistant manager
Lord.
that is not being paid enough. So literally the party is like, here, we'll give you our money from Jimmy, and he was like, bet. And that was the end of the encounter.
Yeah, we noticed you're not wearing 21 pieces of flair. So if you can just like up your game to match what everyone else is doing, that would be great. Okay.
Oh my god. That's fantastic.
Can I get that
Um,
Jimmy Buffett one shot? Oh my
Dude,
god.
that sounds amazing.
It's very
Was that online right now, Charlie?
Yeah, it might still be on the Dungeons and Do-Gooders Twitch page, but I don't actually know. I'll see if I can find a VOD of it. But yeah, basically find the Law Shaker Assault.
Oh, by the way, if anybody is looking to waste money, Arby's has dice.
No, buy Bookworm dice if you're looking to.
Yeah, buy Bookworm
spend
dice, but
money.
Arby's has dice, and that's weird. So just letting you know, you can get dice with Arby's logos on it. So that's a thing.
I don't even know the
Cowboy
Arby's
hat
catchphrase.
It's Arby's. It's probably food.
Arby's.
God.
Okay.
so bad.
Next question from Andrew Rambling Gamer. As a GM, you're going to get to know the types of adventures your players like. So how do you make your BBEGs different from each other to make them distinct characters, but still make it enjoyable for the players? Ashley.
I have a great example from my friend's like home game because I love hearing about this. So their main villain, and the characters are aware of this now, is this like really mysterious force that's just kind of playing into everything. But for a while, they had this guy with an Australian accent, and he comes in and he meddles with deals and he makes things a little hard, to the point where one of the players was working and there was an Australian tourist and they got like PTSD because they were like, it's him, it's Riz. So like you can create these little distinctions between each of these villains as you kind of slowly build it up, where your characters are so, or your players are so intrigued with it. So you can kind of like poke. Like I think the best thing to test the water with your players, just poke them, see what they do, see what happens when you throw this like annoying guy in there. Like, what do they do? And you can kind of feed off of that. Just kind of like test the waters.
Corbin.
One thing, if you're worried about your villains having identical like mission goals and stuff like that, I like to use the like story path storyteller system of having aspirations, like making sure like they have a couple of short-term goals and long-term goals to differentiate themselves.
What's on their evil vision board?
Yeah. But also like there's the three crimes, like reasons for crime: power, love, and money. And just like maybe differentiate your villains in that way. And if you have a class system, maybe each villain's a different class, because like a monk villain is going to be different than a wizard villain, than a cleric villain, and all this other stuff. And it just gives you a little bit more sort of like a word prompt for making your villains.
So I think that kind of goes back to when we were saying like make them a person, make them a character, make them like things. So yeah, if you want to give your villains different classes to help kind of differentiate the vibe and like maybe their motivations, that's a very good like tool to have to when you're crafting like your villains to make it a different flavor for each time, and not necessarily, you know, have your players get bored of the same type of villain.
Yeah, it's a springboard to help you start getting the wheels turning.
Cool. I actually really like that 3 ways of differentiating. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really interesting way to do that.
Awesome. And then another question from Diggy Blog is there any subtle imagery that you like to use in describing a BBEG? What kind of language do you use? Kelly?
The sound of footsteps. You can tell a lot about a villain from whether or not they're in high heels, in like barefoot, like just the sound of their approach is so useful. As well as smells. Some smells good. Like if someone just smells like a nice like carnal musk, then they're the sexy one. But if they smell like, I don't know, flowers, you know, it's something completely different. You can do a lot with senses.
Charlie?
I love soundscaping, like in my own writing. So lots of the language that I use when describing BBEGs is like how they're like how the room sounds. What does their voice like echo? Lots of like if they walk on cobblestone versus like tile, like how do their feet sound different in different scenarios, and then also just describing the most little things, because being like, oh, and he's 6'5" and he has brown hair and green eyes, like people aren't going to really remember, but they're going to remember how he checks his pocket watch every hour, or how he like adjusts his glasses to do the anime sheen thing, because that's just fun.
Michael?
Just describe to your players that your big bad evil guy just wears just way too much Axe body spray.
Oh god. So evil. So
Every
evil.
villain in high school dramas.
Yeah.
Every villain in high school.
And
Actually.
you're in an elevator with them.
Ooh.
A mimic
Going up
Vader.
Mimic
70
elevator, yeah.
floors. Yeah.
That's
Mimic Vader.
deadly. That's like
The mimic would
you're
just
gonna
vomit it
suffocate.
out. Just, bleh.
As someone with a scent allergy, that is my villain. That's
that your
like
villain?
full on. Whenever someone's wearing like perfume or Axe body spray, I'm like,
Chahista FX in the chat right now brings up something beautiful with the repetition there. And that's if they're a secret big bad evil guy and the party continuously interacts with them, repeat the descriptor you use for them every time, so that when they come out of the darkness to reveal themselves as the villain, you can do it with a single line of dialogue that will plunge like a knife.
my favorite thing to do is that I change my speech pattern. Like a lot of times if I'm DMing, I'm like, yeah, like, blah, blah, you know, like you're kind of having fun with your players. But whenever I bring it down to like a serious level, I get like a little closer to my microphone and I'm like, you feel things are getting different. Like it's like I slow down my speech pattern and I make sure that they feel every word. They're not just hearing it, they're feeling every word that I'm saying. And it kind of like I want their heartbeat to pound.
Every word, every single word. Right, that like
Yeah, you switched. I like in the mage game when you started describing like the start of the day, you switched into your voice, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" I literally thought that. I was like, "Oh, I'm not. This is not good. This is not good." Because I'm like, you used your villain voice, you used your bad DM voice. I knew it.
I think that it's going to be really funny. It's going to be funny. I want everybody to tune in to Mage the Ascension, the Victorian Age next Saturday. And you can watch Robin like shit herself from like moment one of in-game. It'll be great. It'll be great. It'll be great.
What's happening?
That he's doing what is a great DM technique, which is making you worried about the next session so that you're worried about the villain. And this is how you build up the villain without actually being in game.
Yeah, it's true.
You can also build them up through cutaways. I think it is fantastic to have something that more tabletop role-playing people, if it's your style, I mean, not everybody is, but I like to use the camera method where you describe visually things that the players aren't necessarily seeing directly in front of them. I love the pullback to, and as you walk away, a figure emerges from the shadows and watches you as you fade out of view and says, soon we will meet. Or something like that. I love the foreshadowing. You can do so much with description. And I think that a lot of people are shy about that because they think it's cheesy or it's cliche or it's it's kind of dumb, But no, we're all playing make-believe. Have fun. Be as over dramatic as you can.
All right, I think I saw a hand up. I forget who did it.
Oh, it was
Yeah, there we go.
me.
Yeah.
One thing that I'd like to do, but it doesn't come off too frequently, is taking the villain and putting them into an alien situation that they wouldn't be in, or having the villain be sort of alien to the scene that they're in. The players enter a room and there's dead bodies all over the floor and everything, and there's just a little girl standing in the middle of it all, smiling, looking right at them. Or something akin to the Matrix, where you're looking at like the agents don't, like, once they start to do their agent stuff, suddenly, oh no, this, like, what I thought was normal is no longer normal. It breaks that expectation for them, and they realize that everything that they had assumptions about has been flipped on its head.
That's always a good one.
Yeah, yeah, another great example of that is in Strahd in the first town. I don't go in too detail about it, but basically, as a party, you kind of choose between two evils. And when I first played it, we chose the wrong evil, and, and I was like, oh no. But
Did you go with
just
Bone?
like we
Did you go
went
with Bone Grinder?
No, we went with the Lady Watcher. We yeah,
She's fine.
Yep, she's fine. It's great.
You're literally right next to a guy who took over the dream pasty business. Hi, Mike.
But
He bought like a dozen of them and just was handing them out to people he didn't like.
Yep.
we
Hey, here, have a pastry.
we ended up questioning the toy maker for 5 sessions because we just thought no one could be this happy.
But who doesn't love Blinksky? How did you voice him when you were running it?
Oh, I didn't run. I was playing in it, but it was like,
Okay.
I just make toys. Why?
I just to make a toys.
Why are you? And he had the monkey, and we're like, why do you have a monkey? And like, he's just a monkey. And then Art's like, well, we're gonna cast speak animals. And the monkey's like, play. It was a good time.
All right,
Bad
I think
time to
a
drink water.
Final question from Diggy Blog. Who is each person's favorite underrated villain, and why is it Paul Gino?
Not British enough.
Yeah, it's not British enough.
He's not British enough anymore.
Underrated villain.
Underrated. Like what? How do you mean underrated?
I think it's always the villain like you least suspect, but also like got away with it, but no one talks about them. I don't know. That's a quality I'm looking at. Like the guy from
Go ahead.
Like the guy from Captain America Civil War. Like I can't remember what that guy's name is, but I remember
Zola?
that. Yeah, but I can remember that he succeeded.
I think for me, it's if anyone has watched Troll Hunters, for me it's Morgana Le Fay, because like, yes, she's the most powerful. She doesn't get away with it, but like, she was there and then she was gone. But she was like she was like meddling in things, but we never saw her. But we knew she was meddling, and you're just sitting there like, how could she have just like come for the last battle? We've known she's been a part of this since the beginning, and then disappear. Like, I feel like there should have been way more to do with it. Like, it was so good.
I need to watch some of these shows.
Yeah. Yeah, blog was confirming what are some good ones that you think aren't as appreciated as well. Could be your like underrated as well. Oh, what's some good ones that aren't as appreciated? Oof, man, this is like asking like what's your favorite movie and then you just forget every
I mean,
single
like the
movie
ones
you've
that I want to say
ever seen.
are the ones that are like really obvious, like Gustavo Fring from Breaking Bad. Like he's just the best. Like he is just the best. But like, what's a lesser known or underrated one?
I usually a lot of like the first season villains of shows tend to get a little bit underrated because then the next villain is doing something even more over the top.
Mm.
I'm trying to think.
I mean,
You're like
M. Bison. Raul Julia's M. Bison.
Yes.
You know, the day I killed your parents was the worst day of your life.
Speaking
For
of
me,
cheese,
it was a Tuesday. Right? It's just, it's so good. It's
Yeah.
and he did it so well, but it was cheesy. It was so cheesy.
The girls from Mean Girls, probably underrated villains.
Oh,
Yeah, you know what? Yes.
underrated villain though, like everyone in Heathers. Every single
yeah.
character in Heathers is a villain in some way. Like JD, obviously, but they're all evil.
Actually, Froghemoth Legs brings up the two villains in season 1 of Luke Cage. The non-powered ones. Though, like Mahershala Ali's character was amazing. And who was the other who was the actress? Oh, speaking of Mahershala Ali pops into my head, so I'm thinking of Christina from Lovecraft Country.
Oh yeah.
She's great.
Yeah.
Like she's wonderful.
Yeah, she's great.
And by the way, if you haven't watched Lovecraft Country, the last episode's a little iffy, but the rest is really good.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of it right now.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's good.
I'd have to say probably Evil Ash from Army of Darkness, because Bruce Campbell doing double duty as the good guy and the bad guy.
What did you think of Ruby from Ash versus Evil Dead? Have you seen it?
The TV show?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, you need to see it. Lucy Lawless is a character in it, and she's fine. Ash versus Evil Dead, like the TV show, surprisingly strong. It gets better in the last season. It's too bad they didn't give it a 4th, but it ends well enough.
Oh,
it's worth it.
I've got an underrated villain from Supernatural, the Yellow Eyes demon from the first season.
Yeah, whatever happened to him?
He got killed or murdered.
I know, but they just forgot about him. But also Lucifer.
He's not underrated. He's like, he was so good they brought him back 100 times.
Which is the problem. Here's another thing about villains: know when to call it quits with a villain, and know when to call it quits with a show.
I really liked Heroes. I really liked the TV show Heroes, and I loved Sylar, except they kept giving him redemption arcs just to make him a villain at the end of the season again.
It's because Zachary Quinto is a good actor, and they're like, yeah, let's bring him back.
Let's make him a villain again.
Yeah.
A TTRPG one is, I think one of my favorite underrated villains is from Fantasy High, Dimension 20's Fantasy High. The vice principal, the Golden Horde or whatever, because the start of how that show starts, he just has to become a principal, so he can't even be evil. So he just isn't revealed at the end as being like, I've been hoarding all of the bank money, and they're like, stop, you're my principal.
I always liked, if anyone knows the Dark Sun setting of Dungeons and Dragons, the dragon of Tyr, the quote-unquote only dragon of the setting, where it's something where it's ominous if you see a dragon out in the distance, because there's not a young dragon out there. There's not a young adult dragon that's easy to take out. No, there is a level 30 dragon flying around here that is going to destroy cities if it so chooses. You're afraid for your life.
Cool. All right. Well, I think this is a very good place to call that. Sorry, I'll sound like another message. Good job, brain. But yeah, let's call that a wrap on Dork X day 1. Let's go a reverse circle and tell me who you are, where we can find you, and thank you all for joining me today. So let's start with Ashley.
Hi, yeah, my name's Ashley. So I'm with Feyfinders. That's FEY, FINDERS. You can find us pretty much anywhere. You can listen to podcasts. We also have a Twitter and Instagram, and a YouTube where we post kind of teasers and all that fun jazz. If you ever want to reach out to me, my handles are Albwin. We have 2 seasons going on, or 2 campaigns going on right now. You can listen to a fantasy space adventure with me, or you can listen to our Amnesia campaign, which is where you can literally see the characters build their entire character sheet. They have no idea what's going on, and they learn about themselves and their characters.
Thank you for being on, Charlie.
Hi, I'm Chicken Charlie. You can find me on Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok at Chicken Charlie or the Chicken Charlie. I don't know which ones I could keep the out of. I'm a bisexual variety gamer gremlin, and I just kind of stream when I feel like I can. So I'm just around being a nerd.
Well, that's all we are here. Is a bunch of nerds. In the corner, Michael.
Yeah, it's been Michael, and you can find me next here on Dork Tales. I'm working on a small little project that'll be coming up in the near future. And on Friday nights over on Precarious's channel, doing our Friday night role-playing games. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing you there.
Joining us after that game. You had a quick turnaround.
I ran right over.
Yeah, super appreciate it. Thanks for joining us, Corbin.
The Awkward GM Corbin over on YouTube. I'm just the Awkward GM, all one word, on Twitter, and I cover anything not D&D related for the most part, as much as I can. Sometimes wiggle into the D&D space, but not too often.
Perfect. Well, thanks for being on tonight.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Kelly.
I have been Kelly. I will remain Kelly. You seeing him. And then thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Quick reminder that if you have any more change in your couch cushions, you can donate it at the tip link below. Very excited to be back here tomorrow with Wake Up and Makeup at 9 a.m., which I'm sleeping through. So, I'm not putting on my eyeshadow.
Nice. I'm also going to sleep through that because I'm moderating the music panel afterwards at 11. But yes, I'm Robin. You can find me here on Dork Tales usually. Thank you all for joining us for the first afternoon evening of Dork Expo. We have 2 more full days coming for you, starting at 9 a.m., as Kelly said, with Wake Up and Makeup. And look forward to you guys, or to all the panels there, and seeing all of you in chat again here. Again, thank you to our sponsor, Bookworm Games. Without them, I wouldn't say it wouldn't be possible, but without them, they're very nice to have and good friends and a great company. So please go support them. And also to support Dork Tales for things like equipment and art and costumings. We're raising money to try and help the channel a little bit. So if you can, please donate. Yeah.
Yay.
Hey.
All right. So thanks everybody for being here tonight. Thanks for moderating, Robin. It's lovely to have you in that chair. And Robin's going to be in that chair a lot more, starting with the Radiant Citadel, which is going to be broadcasting on Patreon soon. If you want to see that, you can hop on the Patreon at the $5 tier, and you'll get access to that 3 months in advance. Although we're doing the session 0 this Sunday at 4. Is it 4?
Oh,
for
God,
Panic
I
at the
don't
Citadel?
remember.
Yeah, so come watch a live session 0 for one of our games. It'll be fun.
I can pull up the thing real fast.
Pull up the thing real fast. Faster.
Real fast.
Real
Faster
fast.
than the speed of light.
Faster than the speed of light.
So yeah, how to run a session 0 is at 4 p.m. Pacific on Sunday. Come see me there as I start to panic at the Citadel.
It'll be great. Thanks so much for being here, folks. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Good night.
And
Night.
and let's go raid somebody. Let's go raid Entropic Zen.
Yeah.
There. I have no idea who these guys are, but they've got a purple overlay, and that's all I really need.
Nice.
Like some
Sometimes that's all you need.
Sometimes you just need a little bit of entropy. Good night, everybody.
Mhm.
Bye.
Bye.